Hi, how do you treat disappointments in your life? My name is David Drapela, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Glad to have you aboard. And if you like what you see, or if you like what you hear, it sure would be nice to have a thumbs up down here on the bottom. Or you can leave me a comment, which I will gladly answer. Or you can subscribe. And the most important thing, ring the little bell for notification, and it'll let you know when the next one's coming up on your phone, and you'll be able to watch it. Disappointments. There's a lot of different disappointments in people's lives. Funny thing about disappointments is what's disappointing to you might be a gift to somebody else. How does that work? How do you handle disappointment in your life? Well, let's think about it for a little while, gang. What created the disappointment? Let's go back to the beginning and see what created the disappointment. Because if we're going to solve or talk about how to handle disappointments, we have to know where it came from. So it came from an expectation. I promise you I'm going to do something. Or tomorrow I'm going to meet you at 9:30, be there on time. There's all type of different disappointments. How do you handle those things? You handle them with anger. You handle them with love. You handle them with compassion. This is a thing you have to think about. Because we all have disappointments in our life. So now, if the disappointment came from an expectation, wow, is the expectation to blame for the disappointment? If I didn't have the expectation, I wouldn't have had a disappointment. Wow. Where'd the expectation come from? That's an interesting question. Can we live without expectations? I don't think so. Expectations are great. What is it about an expectation that brings about a disappointment that creates this harshness or this anger or this stress in your life? The first thing I have to do is I have to go into it. Whatever is happening in my life that day, if it is a disappointment, don't get angry. Go into the disappointment. Whatever you have a fight for, you give it the power. So when you are fighting because you have this disappointment, you're only increasing the stress and the disappointment that you're having to a greater degree until you're ready to pop, and you hope that the other person doesn't show up late because you're going to knock them on camp. No, that's not the way it works. You have to go into it. And you have to think, well, the way I do it is I think, well, I'm not happy with what happened. I'm happy, but I'm not happy with the disappointment. So the disappointment is separate from me. I am me, the disappointment is over here. So, now that I know that I have this disappointment, I go into it, I'm going like, okay, first thing I do is, have I ever done that to anybody else? Have I caused a disappointment in someone else's life? The only reason you ever have a disappointment because you allowed it to be that way. You allowed it to come into you and control you. How did that happen? It happened because of the attachment. Watch it. Here it is. Today, I'm disappointed because I had an expectation and it didn't work out the way it should. Everything in life is a learning lesson for us while we're here on this planet. This is hard for people to get a grip on. How about the disappointment being a great blessing for you so that you can learn something from it? How about taking it and turning it around? How about thinking that everything on this earth that happens to you is a training, is a lesson for you to find out who you are? Wow. Think about that. Change your thought, change your mind, change your life. Our Master Jesus said, be in this world, but not of it. Wow. How's that work? How's that work? So if I change my thought about this disappointment, I can handle it totally different. Now, I can still be disappointed, but inside of me, I'm calm. I'm not angry. I'm not anything. I just am what I am. And it is what it is. And I'm able to look at it and go like, wow, that was a disappointment. First thing I always look at, I go like, wow, whatever I see in anybody else, I know is in me because we're all connected together. So, did I do that to somebody sometimes? Did I make a disappointment for them? Did they allow me to do that to them? Let's go back to the beginning of it. Without the expectation, we wouldn't have the disappointment. Now, the expectation here is what the real lesson is for us here on earth. This is a hard lesson because our minds are trained into our society from little children. And how do you change your mind? How do you change your thinking? This is the most difficult thing. How do you not be attached to the expectation that caused the disappointment? There are very few people that I have been acquainted with in my 82 years that understand not being attached. The greatest love in the world is the one that's not attached. So the disappointments, again, once you learn that you were attached to something and that's what created it, at least you can go like, well, I understand what's happening now. I had the attachment. I'm still angry. I'm still angry. But I'm not angry inside. Because I don't want to give that person or that entity the ability to control me and to make me angry, disappointed. I'm not going to be disappointed within my own self. How will I handle it? Quietly, quietly. Close your eyes and think some thoughts like this. Wow. If I was laying in bed today and this was my last day on earth, would I really have this disappointment? Would it bother me? And we never know when our last day on earth is. But it's like I wrote one time, one must die to themselves every day to really live. So these disappointments that come into your life, what do? Number one, know that whatever the disappointment is, it's a lesson for us to learn. What am I learning from it? Other than me wanting to knock that person in the head for not being there on time or whatever. What am I learning? What am I learning that'll make my life better? What am I learning that I make sure that I try and not give the people I love disappointments in myself and in my actions that I do? Wow, these are great lessons that you're learning. These people who create the disappointment that you allow to create the disappointment are your great teachers. They're teaching you something that you have to learn how to handle in your life. And if you don't handle it, it can be really hard in your life. Because every disappointment that you have, guess what? When we were young, we had disappointments. So I pick up a rock and put it in the bag on my back. As I grew, I continued to take rocks, and every time I was angry, I put another rock in my back. By the time I was 20 years old or 25, I'm kind of hunched over. I'm carrying all those disappointments with me. I don't want to carry disappointments. I want to carry love. I want to carry compassion. I want to carry a smile. I want to carry peace. So I take this bag that I got and I drop all these rocks off. I let it all go and let those disappointments go. Don't hang on, because every time you hang on, you load your bag with another rock. If you're lucky, by the time you're 60, you're on a crutch and you're all hunched over and you're wondering why. You think it's your health. Well, might be, but your health has a lot to do with how did you handle the disappointments in your life? How did you handle all of that in your life? So go into the disappointment, learn from it. And more than anything else, bless the person who made the disappointment for you, because he or she was your teacher and you are not paying attention to the lesson. Have a great day. If you like this, there's a little button down there on the bottom here with the thumb up. That's a like. You can push that button. And then you got a little subscription that you could put your name in. And then comments underneath. I got to get all this straight in my head because I'm not so high tech. And then there's a little bell. Ding, ding. I like for you to ring the bell. If you ring the bell, that means the next time we do one of these, your phone will go bing. And if you still like, look at it. And if you don't, let the bing go. My name is David Drapela. Thank you for listening.